first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna Google Lumpy Space Princess, and you're gonna find all these images. You're gonna select one you like. This is your reference image or series of reference images. Start a new blender, delete the cube, create a metaball, move it up, move it to the right. You're gonna duplicate it with Alt-D, not Shift-D, Alt-D. Make a linked copy. Right click so it goes back to where it was. Change the orientation thingy, whatever, to 3D cursor. Good. Now, SX -1 on that second metaball, the one you just created. Well, it doesn't matter, I guess. I don't think. Anyway, click the first one and then go into edit mode and start pressing Shift-D to make more balls. You need to be in edit mode for this to work with the mirroring and everything. In order to get balls in the center, I just eyeball it. Doesn't matter too much. The metaballs do the trick. I'm speeding this up now just so you can get not be bored. Basically, the crux of this tutorial is look at your reference, move the balls around until her luscious lumps are in place. I'll tell you what, the first time I ever modeled her, I was really proud of it. That's where the thumbnail came from. This time around, it's not my best Lumpy Space Princess, but I want you to make your best Lumpy Space Princess. You'll notice also that the resolution is really smooth right now. That's because in the Metaball menu on the right, the two little green circles, in resolution viewport, I have it set to 0.05. The lower that number is, the smoother those lumps are going to be. I think it defaults to 0.4. And whenever you add a new Metaball in object mode, not in edit mode, but object mode, it's going to reset your resolution viewport to 0.4. So let's make a mouth. Go back to object mode, create an ellipsoid metaball, okay? And then go into edit mode of this new metaball, and in edit mode only, you can turn it into a negative. Did you see that? And I'm just changing this back to or individual origins, so when I scale it, it scales in the same origin. Now I'm just going to push it in there, and that looks like crap because the resolution is low. So I'm just going to kind of get a feel for it. I'm going to feel disgusted by it, and then I'm going to put it at 0.05. And 0.05 looks beautiful to me. It might be too taxing for your machine. I don't know. But 0.2 is probably good. 0.1 is probably good. Anyway, look at your reference. Get that mouth where you want it. Yeah, I like that. I like that mouth right there. Let's make an arm. All right. New metaball, capsule. Move it to the right. I'm going to scale it on everything except for the x-axis. So S, Shift, X. Scale that down till it's arm shapey. Move it up. Move it over. And, it's just the best way to model. It's so simple. I don't know if it's the best. So I'm going to duplicate that arm, and I'm going to pull it out for the first finger. See, I scale it down, scale it way down. I'm in top view now, and I'm just duplicating these fingers. And frankly, this is the worst part. This is the worst part of the whole thing. I hate the way these hands look. If anyone has a better way of modeling these hands, frankly, I don't think this ends up looking all that great. I think it looks like a weird alien fork. But what are you going to do? I'm going to Shift D, and I'm going to take this whole nasty hand arm, and I'm going to move it over on the x-axis. I'm going to change to bounding box so that when I rotate on the Z, RZ 180, it just rotates the hand and the arm together. And I'm just eyeballing based on the grid behind her. What's next? Oh, yeah. So I'm going to make some eye sockets now. I made a new Metaball, and I turned that into a negative Metaball, and I'm just like, I'm pushing holes in there because I want her to have some like eyelids, right? So this is kind of the base mesh. Let's turn it into a mesh by converting the Metaballs into a mesh. Okay, Metaballs are gone now. Wow, she's so beautiful. She's so beautiful. And she is a mesh. If you go into edit mode, you can see that for better or for worse, actually this is a really nice, appropriate mesh for her. It looks kind of gross. We'll fix that up in a minute. But notice the mouth is a little jagged. You can just go into sculpting mode and put the smooth brush and start dabbing on as if it were like lipstick on those sweet, luscious lips. Sweet, delicious lips. Go back and let's do a voxel remesh. And what this is going to do is it's going to take our mesh and it's just going to straighten it out, make it a little cleaner. And if you shade smooth, it looks pretty good. And the size there was 0.1. You can do 0.5 voxel size, and it's going to be a little lower resolution. You can do 0.05, and you're going to have like a really dense mesh. If that's what you want, then do that. But I think for my taste, 0.1 is just fine right now with a little smooth shading. And she's looking pretty good, so let's finish her off. A couple eyeballs. Pull that UV sphere up, pull it forward, rotate it on the X so that the pointy is facing forward. Give it a mirror modifier, go into edit mode, shrink it down, put it right in those sockets. Put in the sockets. Great, let's make teeth. Get a cube, move it to about where you want it, shrink it down, subdivision, surface, modifier. And we're going to scale it on the X, scale it on the Y, and we're going to just shade it smooth and move it back. Get it about where you want it, size, and then put an array modifier on it. Give her 3 teeth. Adjust where it is. Apply that array modifier, and it'll spread the teeth out a little bit. And there we have it. A pretty grotesque-looking Lumpy Space Princess. Frankly, I hope you do better.